All right. Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for being here. If you're being blessed, I ask you just share it with somebody. Help me get the word out. Looking at John chapter 12, this New Testament for Everyone by N.T. Wright. We ended our last video looking at John 12, verse 46, 47. We'll just start at verse 47, John chapter 12. If anyone hears my words and doesn't keep them, I'm not going to judge them. Now, Jesus has already said here and in other places, he said it, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He's going to say it here. We're going to get there. He said, but the only things I do is what I see my Father doing. The only things I say is what I hear my Father say. So I can hear somebody now say, well, Jesus ain't going to judge you but the Father. You're going to have to stand before God. You're going to be judged before God. Let's read on. I'm not going to judge them. That wasn't why I came. I came to save the world, not to judge it. Not to judge it. Okay, I can hear somebody saying now, well, that's why he came the first time, James, was not to judge the world, but to save the world. But if you reject him, he can't save you. And all I'm saying is, he's already saved you. He's already revealed. He's already put to death. He's already come to that crisis. He's already made the judgment. He's already paid the debt. The wages of sin is death. He's already delivered humanity. And now any kind of judgment is a revelation of the truth that's happened at the cross. For Jesus said, now is the judgment of the world. And then just a few verses later, he says, I didn't come to judge those that don't believe my word. They hear it, but they reject it. I'm not going to judge them. What's he judging? He's judging sin and death. There's a crisis. That's what judgment is, crisis. It's a revelation where Jesus is shining the light and revealing the darkness. So he didn't come to judge the first time. He came to save us. But he's coming back one day, and then that's when we're going to be judged. Oh, let me get a drink of water. This ain't just any water here. This high quality H2O. It's tap water, but it's poured into my countertop Niken filter, gravity fed Niken filter. You pour it in there, and the gravity pulls it through that filter, and it runs over some mineral rocks, and it comes out through a magnetic field, separating all the minerals. And it's pH balance. I'm not trying to do a commercial, but I'm telling you, it's good water. It's pure. Let me get back to my... Jesus came to save the world. He's coming back. Then he's going to judge the world. Now we're going to go to Hebrews 9:27. One of the favorite verses to be brought up in conversations as such we're having. But we're going to better understand it, I hope, by the time we get done. Hebrews 9:27 says, furthermore, just as it is laid down that humans have to die once, and after that comes judgment. So, okay, let's stop right there. Traditional translation says it is appointed unto man once to die, and after death, the judgment. Beautiful revelation on that passage. It talks about, Paul said it in more than one place. One of my favorite places is 2 Corinthians 5, where he says, if one died, then all died. It is appointed unto man once to die. And men died. Mankind, humanity died in Christ on the cross some 2,000 years ago. Death was dealt with. Judgment was. And what was the judgment? Oh, we'll get there, I hope. But I'm telling you, Jesus came to save the world. I'll read out of the Passion Translation verses here in a minute, John 3. But let's read the next verse, Hebrews 9, verse 28. It says, so the Messiah, having been offered once and for all. Now, you can read that both ways, and it's true. He was offered once in time, and he was offered once for all. Once for all. Once in time, once for all, once for everybody. It both is true. But it says, having been offered once and for all, it's talking about the cross, to take away sins, the sins of many. Why was he offered? To take away sin. You telling me that if I believe in Jesus who was judged in my stead, I get out from under the judgment, but then I come right up under another judgment because I'm going to be judged one day out there in the future. When Jesus dealt with my sin, he has dealt with my sin. And it's hard for us, it's hard for me, but sin is more, it's hard for us to understand this because our minds are so trained, but sin is more of an identity issue than an action or an act or individual acts. It's more of an identity. It's a failure to believe who I am as a child of God. It's a failure to live up to the standard or the mark of who I am as a child of God. When I miss that mark, I sin, but the sin is not seeing and not realizing who I am. A failure to live according to the blueprint of God, that God created us in Christ Jesus to be like Christ. He's conforming us to the image of his Son, making us more and more like him, his likeness. Listen to what he says. So, having been offered once and for all to take away the sins of many. Jesus on the cross dealt with the sin issue. We don't believe that. But listen to what it says. This Messiah, Jesus, will appear a second time. This will no longer have anything to do with sin. It won't have anything to do with sin. It will be in order to save those who are eagerly awaiting him. So he's appearing. I like the way, let me read it from the New King James. I like the way the New King James says it. I like N.T. Wright's as well, just not that familiar with it. But listen to what he says. And as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this the judgment, so Christ was offered once to bear the sins of many. So you see, this appointment that men had with death, Christ met that appointment because he died, right? He died for us. He died for me. That was the appointment. Why? Because of sin. Sin and death. That's why he came, to deliver us. And so Christ was offered once to bear the sins of many. And to those who eagerly wait for him, he will appear a second time apart from sin for salvation. It's going to have nothing to do with sin. Why? Because the judgment has already come and sin was dealt with. We'll come back and stop this video and I'll come back.